someone to tell you everything. Sit around and wonder what tomorrow will bring. Maybe a diamond ring.
These energies that came in this last month, huge, are what I would call separation energies. Some of the things that are happening in your life right now are simply because of old routines and patterns that were started a long time ago. They're put into autopilot, and they continue. They continue to play out. They continue to reproduce the same results, even though your mind, your beliefs, your consciousness says, no, I want something different. So you've called in these amazing, massive energies, basically said, I need something to pull this stuff apart, to unravel it. This energy is literally going to go into their biology and start pulling them out of their family hereditary characteristics, pulling them out of their ancestral karma. Some misunderstand the words that I say, think that it is about anti-family. Families are great as long as you didn't buy into them karmically. This body should be and can be the byproduct of your own passion, your own soul, and your own choosing. What am I saying by that? This is my body. No longer belongs to this ancestral line. This is my life. It's not just a byproduct of my past life aspects. This is my mind. It's not just a byproduct of hypnotic programming. I am that I am. And then you see, you start literally transforming your body, mind, your identity. What's it really doing? Freedom. Absolutely. Absolutely. Setting it free. Setting you free. And isn't that what you really asked for? Freedom. Freedom from the past. Freedom from mass consciousness. Freedom from old ideas, freedom from old patterns. That's really what you asked for, is freedom. These energies that just came in, if you breathe them in, and if you trust yourself and you're going to enjoy life, stop worrying about things, they actually support the release of many, many, many old systems.
Well, it's all right, even if they say you're wrong.
Last couple months, and I've talked at some of our gatherings about a mirab. Linda, would you write that on the board, please? Mirab. A mirab means completeness. Once the energies that have been bound together, glued and fused together, are torn apart or released, now you can come back to completeness, which is a mirab. My definition or my experience with a mirab is working with you and saying, if you just let it happen. You take 3 minutes. Is that too much for your enlightenment? If you just take 3 minutes and do some breathing, just take a deep breath and don't think about it. Stop struggling with it. Stop trying to use your mental constructs to get out of mental constructs. You see, it will never work. It will never, ever work at all. So 3 minutes to say, I'm going to do a mirab, and let the energy shift, and I'm just going to sit back. I promise, dear God, I promise I'm not going to mess with anything during this precious sacred 3 minutes. I'm not going to chant. I'm not going to light any incense. I'm not going to confuse myself with a bunch of macchio. I'm not going to do anything, even try to go in myself. I'm just going to breathe and let it be. It's about saying, I am a natural being, and I'm going to let go of my unnatural ways.
It don't matter if you're by my side, I'm satisfied.
Mirage means wandering inside. Wondering. Would you write that down? Not wandering, wondering inside. Mirage also means the mirror or the reflection. Mirage means the inner look. over the years, it's been associated with the person without any water in the desert and starts hallucinating and seeing things. But the original definition of mirage was actually that of going within, the inner vision. So the experience with the mirage is wonderful. It's a ceremony. We can't necessarily try to experience it here. It has to come in that moment where what was previously a mental idea or thought or hopeful belief suddenly starts to become real. When you suddenly get it and it's not just a thought anymore, it's here. I get it. It's a feeling and a sense now. It's a new consciousness. That's when you do a mirage. That's when you do the ceremony of the mirage. You stop. No matter what you're doing, other than perhaps using the toilet, you stop. You break out a candle. You get down on your knees. You do something to acknowledge that moment. Why? Because it grounds it. Then what happens is that literally will invite the next mirage and the next mirage and the next. They'll feel welcome in that house of I am. They'll feel suddenly that it is appropriate and that it is natural.
All right. Everything will work out fine. Well, it's all right. We're going to the end of the line.
So you come to the end of the line, and that line is, and this is going to sound strange for a bit, but breathe it in, evolution. You come to the end of evolution. That indicates there is almost a required growth that comes next. That indicates that the spiral keeps spiraling. And it does for a long time, long time, until it comes back into itself. We talked about this before. That stops the cycle of evolution. Maybe frightening. The common reaction should be, this is it? This is it? I'm not going to get any smarter. I'm not going to get any healthier. I'm not going to get any wiser. That's correct. And that's a good thing. First of all, it relieves you from a tremendous amount of responsibility, burden, I should say, lack of freedom. When you're no longer trying to force or push the evolution of yourself, you come into one of these big ahas. And in that aha, you realize there's nothing more to gain. There's nothing more to lose. There's nothing more to acquire or to aspire to. In that moment in which you may suddenly get the aha at some point, suddenly realize that now, with no more evolution, it is about the living ascension. You got this big, wonderful consciousness, and it is dripping with this wisdom. It's like bees building their honeycomb, building their hive, and just keep putting this beautiful nectar in there. So much of it can't even handle it anymore, and it's just wanting to drip out. But it really wants to just drip right down onto something relevant. Now is the time to take this essence, this wisdom, and live it. Stop putting honey in the hive and start eating it, my friends. That is truly what it's about right now. When you stop evolving, then you start living. Let these energies that are coming in right now rip you apart in a loving way. Oh no, it can be fun. It can be amazing. It can be joyful. It can be so liberating. And they're here to do it. They're here to do it. They're here to separate you so that you can come back to yourself, whole and complete, without all these fragments, without all these parts and pieces, but come back to the natural state. But it means that there is no more reason to try to evolve the self. Now it is about living the self.
All right.